So have you got any exposure into marketing, or was that just something that you're like, I think this is going to work?
I just like to chat, and I just thought this'll work. Some people will like it, and I did one or two of them, and it just got this massive upswing of people getting involved. And I thought, brilliant, we'll just keep doing them.
Looking back now, do you know why it worked?
I think
can you identify the?
It's so different to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so different to everybody else. So if you're scrolling through LinkedIn, as we all do, right? Scrolling through LinkedIn, it's just something different. Everybody was saying, you've got to do video, you've got to do images, you've got to do that. And I was like, actually, do you know what? I'm going to go in the opposite direction to everybody else, because if you're scrolling past 100 videos and 100 of exactly the same type of post, that's going to stand out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it had that really nice little simple start to it, because it was always dear whoever.
Yeah.
So when you saw that dear whoever, you're like, oh, it's one of Barry's
He's
letters.
got another one. He's got
Barry's letters. It's one of Barry's letters. Although weirdly, the dear, opponent, he messages. It wasn't even my most successful one. I put a job advert out for a PA.
Okay,
I remember that,
and it had over 850,000 views by the end of it, just because of the way the job ad was written. I think calling myself a narcissist in it was probably quite helpful.
Yeah.
Wasn't it something that you're going to have to service me? You're going to have to do X, Y, Z.
Basically, sort my life out.
I mean, Bibi's been dealing with your PA, so she feels for the poor chap.
Definitely.
So, more recently though, there's been less of that content out, hasn't there?
Yeah.
Is that because you just ran that? Because all the inquiries came in after you put the Dear Barry stories up?
It's partly just because we're busy, and the team have actually said, "Can you stop doing it?" We get a bit too much work.
Got too much work on
because we don't have
Talk about first world problem.
I know. So we don't have a sales function as such, and I haven't made a sales call as anyone would recognise one for 6 years, because all of our work comes in either from other suppliers to the industry. Yeah, because that's a really good relationship to build as a supplier in the industry as other suppliers, because they're more likely to refer to you. So I think it's just over 20% of our work comes in from other suppliers. Repeat business. So clients generally, once they join us, it's sticky, right? So they stay with us.
Yeah.
And then referrals from our existing clients. And then, of course, the social piece.
Of course, yeah.
So how did you get from because you started off in recruitment.
Yeah.
How did you get from recruitment to recruitment law then?
Should we do how I got to recruitment and then how I got to recruitment law? It was sort of like a list of calamities to start with until I found my place. So I was going to be an engineer. That was it.
Obviously, because that's closely linked with law.
With the law, exactly. Yeah. So I was going to be an electrical engineer, and I did a year in industry for a big engineering company, and then went off to do university. Within about 6 weeks, I realised I was nowhere near good enough at maths to be an engineer. So had to get out of that pretty quickly. And because I got out of full-time study, my mum was like, "You have to have a job immediately. Like, you don't get to doss on the sofa in this house. Get a job." And a mate of mine was working in an office, like an admin in the office, while he was waiting to go away for a year in industry somewhere else. And he said, "I'll get you a job here." Right? So I went in to do this photocopying job, and it turned out to be Huxley Associates in America Square.
Right.
So I was literally, and this shows how long I've been in recruitment for, I have mail shots that used to go in the post. So literally photocopying CVs, stuffing them into envelopes. Yeah. That was literally my job, right? A fella came through the office one day and told me to get a haircut because my hair was down to my shoulder blades at the time. And I responded and said, "Well, hang on, what's wrong with my hair?" And the response came, "It's not befitting of the image of the company."
Excellent.
So I said, "There's loads of people here with longer hair than
also,
me."
I'm in the fucking post room. Who cares? No one's coming in here looking for me.
Yeah. It's a fair point. And I just started naming all the women in the office. And he went, "But they're all women." I said, "Yeah, what's your point?" So he said, "All right, come in tomorrow. You work on the sales floor now because I like the way you argued with me. But comb your hair." And then, as you know, you get into recruitment from there. So recruiter, the resourcer there for about a year, then 360 computer personnel, not computer people, computer personnel, designed to look exactly like computer people so we could get past the PSLs, but very different company.
Good Lord.
And I was a C++ Java contract recruiter for years. .com bubble burst. So overnight became a year 2K testing recruiter. And then year two, the 1st of January came around, no planes came out of the sky. That market died. And I realised I really wasn't very good at recruitment. I just had a couple of really nice markets. So went off to get a proper job. And that's the point that I went off and studied and became a lawyer.
Barry was like, I've placed so many candidates on the basis of this Y2K book. I've got so many fucking fallouts and people going to be rebating. I need to leave.
I just go become a lawyer and deal with the rebates.
Yeah. I've spent my commission.
Ahead of time. But then look, so then went into law, trainee solicitor, did all that stuff, and went into a traditional normal practice. But all my mates by that point were recruitment. And as a result, all the phone calls were recruitment. And when the time came, and it comes to most people that they're bored of earning money for other people, and I decided what I did for myself. I just decided at that point to lean into recruitment because I recognise that it's a really good niche. There's a lot of law firms out there that will provide services to recruitment businesses. There might be departments or individuals, but I was yet to identify a law firm that was exclusively geared to the recruitment industry. Because it's commerce, right? So it's just businesses doing what businesses do, employing people, having terms in place, having disputes, but with that recruitment flavour, which is it's important to really understand your niche, right?
Yes.
So that was the idea behind it. And it's flying.